Let's the first ever episode. It's going to lead to something huge.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you said it yourself. This is John Griffin III, joining me here, the new head coach of Bucknell, and this, as John just said, is the first of a entire series. I'm going to be interviewing each of the new Patriot League head coaches this offseason, and so might as well start with the first guy that was hired in this cycle, John Griffin III. Thanks for joining me, Coach.
Ethan, I'm thrilled to be on. Any publicity for the Patriot League is great, and I'm hoping this turns into something that becomes national coverage. So let's do it.
Absolutely. So this is your first head coaching Division One opportunity, and you've been an assistant for a while with stints at your alma mater here at Bucknell. Most recently, you were at St. Joe's under Billy Lang, and you've only been in the head coach's seat for probably a few weeks. But what would you say have been some of the biggest adjustments you've noticed so far from being a head coach to being an assistant coach?
Well, I would say the number one adjustment is all the decision making gets funneled towards the head coach, from office paint, office furniture, to operating budget decisions, to types of computers, software that we'll be using for scouting reports and in-season preparation, to housing. And normally that's divided amongst assistant coaches. Everyone has a role. Everyone's empowered to lead in that role. If you're lucky to work for somebody that really delegates, I throughout my career have been very fortunate in that regard. But the biggest shift is, like I just said, all the decisions are made by me. Um, I've really focused heavily on getting to know the guys in the locker room right now. I've made that pretty clear in my press conference. It's all about the current players, and relationships are my strength. It's always been a strength of mine, and establishing some sort of connection in the first 2.5 weeks is a priority for me. It's something that I have always thought would be the priority if I was ever in this position, and it's held true. So I spent a lot of time with the players, both on the court and off the court. Bucknell is an amazing campus for um, coffee spots, believe it or not. So I've gotten to meet the players in their own space and start to build a level of trust and slowly start to build a relationship. And that's really what I focus majority of my efforts on outside of the decisions that have come my way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're stepping into a position here at Bucknell where, I'd call it a rebuild. The team finished in last place in the Patriot League last year, and you know, rebuilds take time. That's no secret. But at a place like Bucknell, where a winning precedent has been established before, part of which during your two stints on campus, um, fans also kind of expect a certain level of success. I would say, do you feel the pressure to turn things around, quickly? Because before Colgate, Bucknell was really the team that ran the league, or do you feel that you have the support from the administration and the fan base to maybe take the time to build things, even if it takes a little bit longer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Let's just start there. I'm very excited because I still believe that the Patriot League, from a program strength and history standpoint, runs through Bucknell. The facility is top tier in our league, and our administration, from the athletic director on down, is committed to creating an environment that is as competitive from a experience standpoint as any, I would say, at our level. So immediately that puts me in a mindset of excitement. I don't feel the pressure of exceeding any expectations. I'm part of the community. I'm an alum. I've worn the jersey. I've walked and talked the same way that these guys are currently on this campus. And I have that general expectation level for the success of the program that everyone around here has always has had, truthfully. So I'm excited about it. The guys on the roster right now in the first 2.5 weeks have been very open-minded to new terminology and a new pace of play, new systems in place. They've been competitive, and I'm appreciative of that. But it starts with my general excitement and the staff's excitement, but also I have a little advantage. I've seen what Bucknell was and can be in today's climate, could be something similar to what you just saw with Princeton in the Sweet 16 with the right pieces and the right matchups, but more from a mid-major level of fan experience and community involvement. This place can be really special and really unique, because college basketball and college football are still heavily, they're heavily followed athletic events. And this particular community, Lewisburg and Bucknell, I mean, I've seen it. We're connected at the hip. And when we do well and the community's involved, this is a special place. So I'm excited. I don't feel the pressures. I've kind of given our team right now a little bit of my perspective. I'm not throwing everything at them so they're not overwhelmed. But I think they can feel my energy, and I think they can feel the level of excitement that I have for them to ultimately have a similar, if not better, experience than I had.
Yeah, and then you talked about it some in your press conference, and I guess touched on kind of an adjacent area there with the fan support. You said that Bucknell, is unequivocally the best job in the Patriot League. I want to hear your thoughts specifically on why you feel that way.
Well, throughout history, I mean, look, right now, if you look at the league, Colgate's done Coach Matt Langle's done an amazing job. And the league's very competitive. The parity in the league is apparent. Every game is close. There's great coaches in the league. And when you watch, you can identify that teams are really closely competitive. Matt Langle's done an unbelievable job at Colgate. Their teams are physical, unselfish. They play with great pace. They clearly know what they want to do on both sides of the floor. And then they're connected. The whole community is connected. That place is full, and it's fun to watch. And so I think once we get into a position where we can be competitive with that, I think you'll see, and I think that the league will see what I mean by this place being, what I feel. And again, I'm biased because I wore the jersey. What I feel is to be, one of the best jobs and one of the best programs in mid-major basketball. And look, when I was a player, we played Villanova when they were ranked number 4 here in Soika Pavilion. Coach Wright brought his team up, and we had our own Soikaville, so I guess you could say, where our students were staying in tents, waiting to get into the building. We've had championship games here where it's been sold out. We've played Atlantic 10 teams here. We've played ACC teams here. We have a facility that can entice high-level teams, even in today's net climate, that make us unique if we're really competitive too. So I come from a world at St. Joe's in the Atlantic 10 where I've worked closely with this idea of net and the strength of scheduling model. And I think that when we get up and rolling and the community shows how strong they've been historically, couple that with the student engagement, I think this place can be the hardest place to play in the league. And I've seen it. And because I've seen it, I'm excited about trying to reignite that passion and that energy to the point where our players have such great pride in wearing the jersey, not because of the name on the back. It's because of the name on the front and what it does to the community, both on and off campus. So that's kind of where that comment stemmed from. And I appreciate the question. So I was able to elaborate a little bit, because I don't want Coach Langle to come through Lewisburg ready to blow my doors off and win by 45.
Yeah, yeah. No, and another thing that you mentioned kind of in the press conference, was that there's an element that you can have in recruiting of selling a Patriot League degree, and that you said it's a strength that you're going to highlight regularly. What is going to be your strategy in recruiting? If you're able to explain that in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously academics is at the forefront of the Patriot League model. And every university in the Patriot League has a mission that's fairly similar of essentially developing leaders to go out into the world and have a positive impact on society. Uh, my experience at Bucknell, we have a brotherhood that's very real. It's very, it has great potential to help our program and elevate our program to a new level. And I plan on utilizing our network of alums to ultimately help anybody that comes through our program wearing a jersey to improve their quality of life, achieve their goals, impact society, whatever basically direction they want to go. We have alumni in place that have already gone that direction, and we just have to make sure, and it's my job to bridge that, the locker room to the alumni. And my experience at Bucknell, I have relationships from all generations and eras of Bucknell basketball, from Charlie Woolham, who was the coach before the coach that I played for, and Pat Flannery, to Pat Flannery's world, Dave Paulson's world, Nathan Davis' world. Is my job to put them all under one roof. And then the players that I recruit can see how strong our brotherhood is and what it is to really commit to being a Bucknell basketball player and how it will impact their lives. And that's how we'll compete in the recruiting circle. Couple that, and we'll make sure we match that with finding basketball players, student athletes that want to play ultimately some level professionally and have a love and passion for the game that will allow us as a staff to push their limits in the world of basketball. And once you find that combination of like basketball passion and love and an academic background, looking for something from an experience that's bigger picture, you're heading in the right direction. And that'll allow us to be competitive, because I have seen and been a part of recruiting processes where there is a bigger picture in mind. It's not just this 4-year window. Now, the 4-year window, if done correctly, can set you up for the next 20 years. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And now it's my job to make sure this Bucknell brotherhood is all connected. And it's already started.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we kind of were talking about it a little bit before we came on, but half of the league now, has experienced coaching turnover this offseason. We're going to have 5 new guys stepping in. I'm curious if you feel, because I think from the outside perspective, it's easy to say how 4 years down the line, the 5 of you probably will be compared to one another, by fan bases, by media, and whoever's finishing 4th and 5th out of those 5, it's not going to look as good. I'm curious though, do you feel the pressure of that, or are you just kind of focusing on building your own program? Because it's a unique situation. I'm not sure I can recall any league, not just the Patriot League, in recent memory where half of the programs have a new staff coming in.
Yeah, I don't feel that pressure. I am focused singularly on our program. Right now, it's like I said, and I'll be redundant here, it is all about the players. That's how I've led my life as a coach from day one, and that's how I'll continue to lead. It's going to be all about making sure that the players are comfortable, making sure that they feel like this is an environment where they can improve, and that's my job. So it'll be all about them until to the end of time as it relates to me being the head coach. I'm really happy for all the coaches that were named head coaches of their programs. They're really high level people, like great people They're great ambassadors for the game of basketball. They're going to be great additions to the Patriot League, and they're all going to make this league really competitive. I've been around all of those guys, and they're all very competitive people. So I can't focus my energy on that. It'll take me down a couple of different paths of trying to solve problems that I don't even know the equations yet. But yeah, it's all about our players. It's all about our program, making sure that our program is heading in the right direction, so that when the alumni come back and the community comes into Soika, they're all ready to roll. The pride and energy is in the building. And then once that ball's tipped, we're going.
You talked about it a little bit earlier. I want to go back to it because one of my favorite things about college basketball is the scheduling, because it's so unique in terms of, a sport where, you can essentially create half of your own schedule. And you talked about, kind of playing teams with better nets at St. Joe's when you were there, and then also at Bucknell, getting some better teams in. I'm curious what your scheduling philosophy is, or if you have kind of plans in motion, or some games are already, put down on the schedule for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I scheduling has fallen under my list of responsibilities for the last 9 years. So very comfortable with going out and trying to find the best games possible for the prospective programs that I've worked for. If you asked Coach Lang, my scheduling philosophy, I'm very aggressive as it relates to finding opponents that are really competitive and have a great reputation for winning. So I'm probably going to have to balance that out a little bit, but scheduling here at Bucknell under my leadership will be all about experiences and opportunities. And what that looks like, kind of a combination of finding the right guarantee games that can really provide amazing perspective for our players and give them something that they can hang on to when they ultimately graduate from Bucknell. That's something that was really special to me during my time, and something that I've witnessed as a coach being really special to young people as they live in the moment. So that'll be something that I definitely refer back to. And then finding opportunities in neutral site situations. I have great relationships, but understanding that net is important. So we might not be included, I would say, in the top 10. We might not be included in the world of the top 10 conferences, but we want to be, from a numbers standpoint, we want to be a team and a program that could potentially be included. And that'll start with essentially winning.
Yeah.
But our brand name, we've been in ESPN events, we've been in the Diamond Head Classics, we've played at Duke and Maryland, and Wake Forest has played here, and Richmond's played here, like LaSalle's played here. They played here 2 years ago. So from a brand name, we just want to be, from a number standpoint and a brand name, a program that is approachable and makes sense for some of the conferences in college basketball. At the same time, I'm going to be fairly aggressive. There are some programs in the Ivy League and in the MAC and the CAA that historically struggle to get home and homes because of the fact that they're good.
Yep.
And I'd like to engage in those type of conversations and get us included in that conversation again, like we once were. So I'm aggressive. Like I said, Coach Lang would probably tell you I'm too aggressive.
Well, I know I was at the Veterans Classic last year when you guys played Houston on a neutral court.
Yeah, and I just think it establishes. I'm a big reader. There's a book called The Tipping Point. I think it establishes a connection with the community of college basketball that associates you with a certain level. And I'm going to try to just give our players here and make sure we highlight it in recruiting that, you're coming here for a great experience. And it's my job, it's our job as a staff to make sure that the schedule is part of the experience. And on the other side of it, Ethan, like, there's the experience, competitive side, and then back to what I was just talking about. And I'm not trying to give away all my secrets here, but there's a holistic side to it. So we're going to
Yeah.
go to areas that we have a strong alumni network and make sure that they're included.
Mm-hmm. Any preview of any of those strong alumni network areas?
We'll be in Philly. That's as much as I can get here.
Okay. And then, probably just last one for you, I guess, would be talking about the roster. And, I mean, nowadays, as we talked about with the portal, you don't see it as much in the Patriot League, but a lot of guys, particularly when there's a coaching change, will hit the portal. I know, Xander Rice, though he was a senior this past year, has, moved on. And Andre Screen is currently in the portal. I'd say the two best players from last year. Have you had conversations with guys who are in the portal about trying to bring them back, or are you just letting them go on their way and focused on trying to bring in new guys?
Yeah, the three seniors are going to move forward. They've been great for the program, I think, and I have a great respect for those guys and what they've, the blood, sweat, and tears that they've put into the jersey. So they'll move forward. Andre Screen actually committed to Butler.
Okay.
So he and we had a great 10 days of conversation, and I'm really excited for him, and I think he's feels really good. I think he's content with his decision,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really all you can ask right now. Is it's a teacher. You're just hoping that these young guys do what makes them happy.
Yeah.
So as you just alluded to, the Patriot League is not full of transfers, and I don't see that changing, because there are still some academic parameters in place that make it a little bit challenging as it relates to finding the right fit in the Patriot League. So we'll still be using the standard high school recruiting model. I really like our team. I really do. From the first couple of weeks here of getting them on the court, we have a pretty interesting combination of youth with some experience. Not a great deal of experience, and we're very versatile. Our bigger players are highly skilled. I think our wings are taller than people would probably give us credit for, given that we're a Patriot League team.
I
And
would
I
agree with
think
that.
we
Yeah.
have smart playmakers as our dribblers, ball handlers, point guards, etc. So I'm really excited about the skill set on the roster. And like I said, they've done a great job. Like, you hope that when you take over a job, from what I've seen as an assistant, you really hope that the players are open-minded, they're engaged, they're energetic, and then you can visibly see from a body language standpoint that they're, wanting to work hard and wanting to be around. And that's really all I've seen. So I recognize that I'm in a really fortunate situation with these guys, and like, it's all going to come back. I'm excited. I'm fired up, and it's unfortunate. I really only have 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks left, because they have exams and then they go home for a short bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Coach, I want to thank you for joining me here today, and I'm looking forward to catching your team when they come down through Maryland. I also want to try to get up to Soika at some point this year, and see that environment that you're talking about. But much thanks for your time, Coach, and I've enjoyed talking about the program with you.
Yeah, Ethan, this is great. I hope this is the one in this series that sets you off in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Patriots be competitive. We're ready to roll. And I was excited that we connected and got this going. So good luck to you, man. Good luck. You're always invited up here in Lewisburg, PA.
Absolutely.